Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. So I wanted to just do a quick video on this knife that's on loan from Blade HQ. This was the surprise knife of the week that I shared in my live stream, episode 10 as it's now called. But this is the Boker Kihon. It's a collaboration with Lucas Burnley, presumably made by one of Boker's manufacturers out of China, or a manufacturer that they use, since they don't actually own any production facilities in China. Perhaps in Germany they do. That would require more research on my part. But this is a kind of a compelling knife for a number of reasons. There's some things that aren't quite up to snuff with it. I just wanted to talk about it outside of the live stream in case you guys didn't see it, because there are a few things that do interest me and I think are somewhat compelling. So, as I mentioned, collaboration with Lucas Burnley, very popular maker, very well known. The design is simple and clean. Nothing's overdone, nothing's underdone. It's got kind of all the things you would expect on a modern tactical style folder. Nice thick stainless steel pocket clip over travel stop. It has some nice, kind of somewhat artistic, somewhat functional milling throughout the handle here. It has a flipper tab and a thumb stud. Blade steel is VG10, uses titanium handles, runs on bearings. So, there's certainly a lot of good here. The things that I really like is, one, this flipper tab is perfection. 45-degree angle, lots of nice grip. It's incredibly difficult to slip on this flipper tab, so you get a nice solid deployment each and every time. Thumb stud, if it'll focus, equally well done. Lots of nice texture, easy to use. This knife deploys fairly well, both from a flipper and thumb stud standpoint. So, that's all great. That's all really good with this knife. Some things that are not so great are probably going to be the number of 90-degree angles kind of all over the top of the knife here on the blade. So you've got kind of somewhat sharp edges here, all the way down the spine of the knife. Pretty much the entire spine of the knife has somewhat sharp edges, which is of course not ideal. But it's not a make or break by any means for a knife. I mean, do we really spend a whole lot of time gripped up here? Probably not. Now there's no stainless steel lock insert, but the lockup is nice and solid. There's no play, at least on this model, so a little bit of artistic flair. I'm not going to do the specs. You guys can look it up on the Blade HQ website. I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to get more info. But here we are next to the Dividend, and here we are next to the Parrot 2. Now, the other thing that's potentially not so great on this knife is the value equation. And I'm kind of middle of the road. It's not bad, but it's not good. VG10 and titanium at $140 street price, it's not terrible. If you look at the Spyderco offerings in VG10 and G10 from Japan, they're about $180, and Spyderco's not necessarily offering VG10 knives in this price range. But you look at the Parrot 2, not this modified upgraded one, but a standard Parrot 2, and you can get one in better steel for $110 or $120. So it compares quite favorably against Spyderco's Japanese offerings in VG10, but their American-made offerings, in S30V, it does not compare favorably against. Other side of the equation, we might look at some of the, budget offerings from China, which have maybe coated D2 steel and G10 handles, and these are, $190, that sort of thing. So, the value equation isn't necessarily ideal there either. Again, at $140, if this was made in China, which I suspect by Boker, I think they could have done one of two things better. Is one, a more attractive price point, probably closer to the $100 price point if they're trying to pick up new buyers, or use a better steel like S35, which is kind of the common steel these days. The considerations, of course, are one, can their OEM manufacturer in China even work with S35VN, or would they basically put out a subpar steel? So you're better off having a really well heat treated VG10 than you are having a really poor heat treated S35VN. Again, sourcing, processing, heat treat, all those things kind of come into the equation. So, you know, action's great, design's simple and clean. It's, you know, it's not bad. If you're looking at this one and you really like it and you're okay with VG10, then, you know, I don't see a reason to not get it. The other consideration is that, you know, perhaps they could have used D2 on this knife to give in what I guess a lot of people consider a better steel, but in the grand scheme of things, if this knife ships all over the world to different customers and they don't know how to properly maintain and care for D2, you might end up with a lot of people who have rust and pitting issues and other things. So even though the D2 would hold an edge longer, you know, perhaps a production company views VG10 as a superior steel for mass market, you know, consumption for your everyday Joe. So, you know, don't like it. I'm sorry, don't hate it, but I certainly don't love it. I think it's a nice, simple design. I think there's certainly some potential here to do, you know, rounding off the edges, perhaps a little bit better steel if they can keep the price point the same, which I don't see why they can't with as many knives as they produce and the quantities they do. So, but yeah, again, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. Some things compelling, some things not so. But overall, I don't think it's a bad choice in the slightest. If you understand exactly what you're buying and what you're getting for the price point. So, anyways, just want to do a quick video. I thought it merited potentially a brief discussion about steel, essentially, outside of the live stream. If you want to watch the live stream, I don't know at what point of the live stream it came up, or we really kind of delved into some of the issues that I briefly touched on here. Again, that's live stream episode 10. So anyways, hopefully this was useful. Again, just a real quick hit and run with what little time I have this evening. So if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you like the video format, let me know. I'd love to produce more videos if I can just knock them out quicker and still have it be something quality that you guys are interested in. So as always, thanks for watching. Many more videos to come. Take care.